Huanying.
On the
budding entrepreneur, that is, thank you, right?
That's okay. Thank you.
So you were talking about the 6 modules that already exist, and the time frame in which one can complete them. You said at least 2 years. That is.
Yes.
Yes. Now I want to understand what is put into this, because in teaching languages, people do oral and written and all that. And
yes.
How do you approach it? Do you and where do you focus more? Though you had mentioned that in Kenya, for you to really excel using your Chinese, to benefit through your Chinese, you have to speak it. So how do you approach it here at the Discovery?
At Discovery Chinese. Yes, like any other language, there are 4 skills which we have put in teaching of our Chinese language here. We have reading, listening, speaking, and writing. But our major focus is speaking. And it's not that we disregard the rest. No, we teach them with their own big percentage, but the biggest percent is normally speaking. And as I mentioned earlier, why? It's because it's only in speaking that you can prove even to the world that you know Chinese language, not in writing, not in doing 6 months or 8 months of Chinese language, yet you cannot speak. Unless you speak, unless we are speaking English, how will people know we know English? It's the same thing. So we've put in speaking, and how have we done that? In addition to the lessons that we offer every single day from morning to evening, we've got Chinese language corners. These are only for speaking. They happen online, where we gather students and they meet they meet every Wednesday, actually 5 to 7 p.m. just to speak. Then we have our native teachers, Chinese, real Chinese, coming to join us Thursdays. So on Thursday afternoon, not afternoon, from 11, it's a speaking day. So we speak, but when we are teaching, it's our local teachers who teach. And why do we use local teachers? First, for creation of employment, and secondly, the local teachers have a bigger touch with the locals. They can explain if a grammar aspect is not being understood. A local teacher can explain in Kiswahili, in Kikuyu, in whichever language they know, they can explain. So we feel, so long as our local teachers have studied, and majority have even studied in China, they are able to have a better relationship with the students. But then now when it comes to polishing on speaking, we bring in the native, who will now come and correct a few things here and there and ensure fluency. So, but when also in reading, we have a lot of reading. We have an online library, and a physical library. But in the online, what we do, we have storybooks running online where we take you through reading, and that's in addition to classes, because classes are happening and the same skills are being emphasized. We also write Chinese characters in a very fun way. How we do our Chinese characters so that students are not bored is we do it in calligraphy. So even though they will write in exercise books, we have calligraphy lessons. So we're just doing it in a beautiful way. You can write even cards, you can write to your friends, so that you feel the language is good, because it can become tough when you're writing those characters. So we need to make it fun.
And the Chinese characters themselves are very artistic.
Yeah, they are, and they follow a certain order. So you just don't wake up, look at a character and just go, write it. It has an order, and when followed, it is easy.
Now, I want to understand, you've spoken about dictation, you've spoken about reading, you've spoken about listening, and now the oral. I want to understand, how do you now gauge the level of understanding, the comprehension of these people? Do you have examinations? And if you have examinations, are they from a body that is certified, or the examinations are just internal?
Yeah, we have examinations, and we test all the 4 skills. We have our own internal exams, but we have the external exams, which are the HSK exams. You remember when I told you the Chinese Education Center, the one that gives us the vocabulary. So it still gives us exams. And just to add here, we've partnered because we, being a private center, the Chinese government gives these exams to a public sector. So it gives these exams to public universities. So we have a very good partnership with Kenyatta University. That's where we take our children to do their YCT exams. YCT is just like HSK but for children. So that's the external body. And then we have for adults, they do it at University of Nairobi. So we have those two partnerships.
Would you be gracious enough to just tell us the full meaning of these abbreviations?
Okay, the YCT, this is the Young Chinese Test or the Youth Chinese Test. So this test is given to the 17-year-olds and below. So that one we've partnered with KU. They're the ones who takes our students through that exam. Then we have HSK. The HSK word is a Chinese word, but to maybe give a simple way of saying it's the Chinese proficiency tests. So these are for the adults 18 and above, and that we partner with the University of Nairobi.
After completion of my course, so I'm getting a certificate from you and the examining body?
Yes, you get 2 certificates. So you first finish our exams, you get a certificate, but as you finish our exams, we've already booked you in for an external exam, which you also need, because the good thing with getting the external exam certificate, most of the Chinese companies, they recognize a lot of their certificates. So that's why we encourage our students, yes, you have our certificate, but you still need to really, if you want to use Chinese with papers, then it's good to have this other one.
And it's good you're speaking about now the importance of Chinese, and apart from just helping me secure a job, say with one of the Chinese companies, which are very mega in the country. We can talk of Chinese Road and Bridge, we can talk of
Huawei.
Huawei, the tech company.
Yes.
We can talk of so many other companies that the viewer might recall. I just want to understand what is in it for a person who is taking Chinese seriously.
I have seen it in our center, those who take Chinese seriously, and these I mean are students who they're not just comfortable with the first level, because what the first level does, it gives you a general platform, but not a competitive platform. So for those who really want to get employed or get into these companies, as you're mentioning, they need to really move to level 2, add their vocabulary, and if possible, move to level 3. So when they do that, I've seen them becoming teachers, and I think right now the biggest employment platform is the teaching one in terms of Chinese. Why? Because when the government opened up, and then now COVID is now like kind of stable here, we are now a bit stable, many private schools need teachers, but we don't have the teachers, because the teachers can't be level 1 teachers, they ought to be level 3s. So we need the students to really move to level 3, because they'll get employed in these private schools. And not only that, the international schools, I think all of them right now in Kenya are teaching Chinese. Yeah, they are teaching Chinese, and then you see the government schools are also picking it up. So there's that field. There's the field of translation. Now this one, the translation interpretation, you really now need to get to level 5 if possible, so that you are fluent when speaking, and also you can translate the documents in a better way. There's also tourism. Actually, some of our students are tour. Yes. So they normally take the Chinese when you are connected to a connected to a tourism company, because they will be receiving Chinese. Only that it had gone down with COVID, but now coming back. And when they receive, you can serve as a tour guide, and so on and so forth.
Let's speak about a person who's venturing into business and they want to get their business global. And you want to trade or do business with the Chinese companies that are present in our country, or you even want to just get merchandise from China or travel to China to go check out your consignment or just buy stuff. How important is that?
Is the language. The language is important, and I'll tell you of one story of one of my clients that time, some time ago. She's a businesswoman, and she normally used to, even till today, she gets her products from China. The beginning, she used to tell me of how she would go hire a translator, which they're there in China. You'll hire a translator, even a Kenyan who is there but now serving as a translator. But it costs you so much. And one of the other risks of hiring a translator is sometimes they may not be genuine. They might also be working with those ones you're going to buy. There's collusion and all this. But when she got to know the language, and she only did 2 levels actually, she told me of the first day when she went and now she's speaking, and she told me the prices of what she was going to buy at that time, they just went down. Because, you know, she was able to converse, and they were able to say, now she knows our language. Because the Chinese people, they really love it when you understand them. When you are understanding one another, even prices will go down for your favor, because you have sort of a relationship now. You have been able to understand.
When you meet local traders
and you speak their language. Exactly, it's the same thing.
Faith, I understand you've spoken about all these ways of teaching Chinese. You've spoken about oral, you've spoken about writing, you've spoken about dictation and all that, listening. I understand you have authored a book about all these. Why can you just tell us about the book and what is encompassed in the book?
Okay, yes, I have authored this. It's called My African Heart. Yeah, I know it sounds English, but why did I use My African Heart? Because I wanted it to have an African perspective, but also to help you learn Chinese as well. So even what is inside are everything African, actually based on Samburu. So when you start reading the book, which is a bilingual children's book, but also can be read by beginners of Chinese language, you get to do the first vocabulary that I told you of the first level. Remember, the first level has about 500, but with the book you'll go halfway, and you're sure that you have done about 250 vocabulary, but through a story. So it's talking about this girl from Samburu, but it's a story and helping you to learn Chinese.
And I understand you've used lots of illustrations, of which is it called pictography or iconography, something like that? I don't understand. I don't get the real vocabulary for that. But you've used lots of illustrations, and it's very beautiful, going page by page. What is the essence of using pictures and diagrams in teaching a language? Because also looking at your classes, they are very beautiful. They have diagrams and all that.
So nowadays people don't like a lot of reading, you know. They want things audiovisual, and so that's the reason why I used a lot of pictures, because the pictures themselves will explain to you what the text is, and the text is very brief so that you don't get tired. And that's also the reason why we have a lot of pictures here. You look at the pictures, you're interested in seeing what's in the picture, but at the same time you find yourself learning a new vocabulary. So that's the essence of doing more audio and visual things.